Good afternoon to everybody that is joining us today here live at the waterhole. We have started at Tembe Elephant Park over in Maputo land, South Africa. My name is Kerry Dupree and I'll be joining you as your naturalist presenter for the day. Our director for the day will be Gwyn, and we also have a Marcel on tech. It is a lovely, cool day here in South Africa, I must say. I'm really enjoying this cool weather after a bit of rainfall that we've been having. So it's lovely to have the earth cooled down a little bit by the rain. I think the elephants are thinking the same thing too. They're also enjoying this nice, cool weather while they take a bit of a break in the shade under the trees. So just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive experience, so you can watch us on our app, or if you're watching on the website, you can also register to ask any questions. Let us know what you would like to see today, any special birds. I'll be taking down a bird list for the day and a mammal list, just to have an idea of what kind of birds and animals we can see at all of our different locations today. Don't forget to use the hashtag to send through those questions and comments, or head over to X. The QR code will also come up on screen from time to time. If we have any questions or polls that we might want to send out there, please feel free to join in the conversation with us today. What a lovely day it is in South Africa. So, yep, the rainy season is upon us, and it definitely does bring a renewed kind of life to the land, transforming all these dusty locations that we've had throughout the year, all the lush green vegetation, all the vibrance. I must say, I really am enjoying seeing all this green vegetation with those very dramatic blue skies, the clouds building in the background. It does make for quite a dramatic picture, I must say. It's the time for growth and new life, abundance, lots of baby animals dropping all over the place. We saw some baby warthogs yesterday, lots of baby impala, and baby wildebeest are starting to drop. So, yeah, it's definitely a very happy time of the year. With the rains comes a lot of new life, celebrating the holiday and festive season. So, yeah, we've got these impala also in the background there. A lovely graze on this green grass. I must say, Tembe has been quite a reliable location this year. It seems to be in quite green throughout the season, so I think they have a slightly different rainfall to some of our other locations. They seem to be getting some sporadic rainfall throughout the dry season as well. So just lovely to take in, enjoy the scenery, listen to the birds, and have a few deep breaths. Listen to the sound of nature as we start the show off today. Two of the elephants over there look like they're just chilling in the shade. And one of these elephant bulls looks like he's down at one of the outlets to this pan, having a bit of a drink, sucking up all that nice fresh water. Got some birds in the background. What do we have? What do we have? So, could be an Egyptian goose. There are a lot of Egyptian geese that do hang out here at Tembe. You can hear a sombre greenbill calling just in the forest there. If we listen closely, we might be able to hear the sound of this elephant slurping away the water. Good afternoon, Ari. Thank you for joining us today from the Netherlands. It's pretty incredible, I must say, to see how many viewers we get from all corners of the earth. Definitely was rather surprised joining Wild Earth to realize there are so many people that watch and tune in to get their full bush animal experience in for the day. Do you have an African jacana? Looks like a little brown and white dot. A little reflection down by the water there. Probably also looking for his lunch. Colin Eames, thank you for sending through your comment. Happy Wednesday, hump day. It is for the middle of the week. Thank you for joining us, and I hope that you also have a lovely day. Oh, check out this elephant. Seems to have rested his foot up there. Sometimes they get tired too. It's a great time to have a midday nap for some of these elephants as well. So elephants love to take a little bit of a nap underneath a tree. So big boughs like this, they'll generally nap kind of rested up against a bit of a tree or a termite mound so that they can get up a little bit easier. It's quite difficult for these big elephant balls to get up off the ground if they're lying flat. Little baby elephants will even struggle themselves, but it's really cute. We had a few baby elephants yesterday that we were watching, and yeah, having a good old mud bath, rolling around in the mud, playing with one another. Always brings a little bit of yeah, happiness to your soul to see these creatures in their natural environment living happily and peacefully going about their days. Let's have a bit of a listen to hear what birds we have out there today, what maybe the elephants sounds these elephants are making. I must say, I do love the sound of that sombre greenbill that's vocalizing, very high pitched tweet tweet. The sombre greenbills normally very much characteristic of very thick wooded vegetation, often get them in very thick forested areas. So Tembe does make a perfect habitat for many greenbill species. We also have a common bulbul that's also vocalizing somewhere close by. Oh, let's see if there's going to be a bit of a scrap here, a bit of a fight over this water source between these two big bulls. So I'd love to know from our viewers what your favorite thing to do is on an overcast day. So there's rather strange weather. The sun is trying to come out, but it's a nice cool day, nice cool weather. Rain is around. I must say, holiday season, I love to have a cup of coffee and a good old mince pie. Or some cookies. It's always great to sit at home, nice warm beverage, and a little treat. Send through your comments. I'd love to know what your treat of choice is on a cold, rainy day. Christmas cake is also lovely. Christmas cake, time for Christmas. Definitely the holiday season is upon us. Wishing all of our viewers a very great festive season, and I hope that you all don't put on too much weight over the Christmas time. These elephants surely are dying to put on their Christmas weight. So, sorry, folks. I think we had some technical difficulties with our camera over in Tembe, but we have linked over to our camera in Safari Hook in Namibia. And yeah, yesterday we had a cormorant that was here. Apparently, it is nesting somewhere in these trees close by. So I'm dying to see where this cormorant's nest is. And yeah, I don't see him today, but we'll keep an eye out for him. Is it a darter? Was it a cormorant? We also have some blacksmith plovers that normally hang out here. And we'll keep a very close eye for our little bittern or dwarf bittern that was also at this location yesterday. Let's have a quick scan, shall we? Got some zebra that have come down to the watering hole and some springbok that look like they are churning up the dust and running around, getting up to nonsense. Looks like it is another hot day in Namibia. So unfortunately, Namibia is not expecting any rainfall in the next 10 days. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, they might get some more rain. But it is nice to see that they do have a bit of a flush of greenery and a little bit of green vegetation coming out there for all the animals to feed on. Catherine, thank you for sending through your comment. I guess your little treat that you like to indulge in on a cold day at home is chocolate, and I agree with you there. You can never go wrong with a chocolate. That's perfect little snack any time of the day and night. Always lovely to have a little chocolate snack. Although, my goodness, I don't think I don't think Namibia would like to have a warm beverage during this heat that they're experiencing now. So Africa's zebra are one of Africa's best known animals and also one of the most sought after animals after the big five. So you get the most popular animals that most clients or people like to see while on safari. You have your big five, but zebra and giraffe are very highly rated up there. So obviously four different species of zebra that do roam the plains of Africa in quite large numbers. These are the Hartmann's or Birchall's zebra, which occur in Namibia, um, are quite large equids and they do have quite a long lifespan, very hardy and very adaptable to living in very harsh environments. It's very rare to see a sick zebra. And if any of you can ever remember on any of your safaris, if you've ever seen a sick zebra, so it's very, very rare to see a zebra that's in poor condition. They're a very good indicator species, zebra, just like with impala. So if there's some imbalance in the environment, not enough food, not enough water, inbreeding, we generally can see it in some of these indicator species. Oh, here we go. So we have our two blacksmith lapwings, and that could be our little cormorant there. There we go. Still looking to see where this cormorant's nest is. Is this a cormorant? Honey's got a nest somewhere close by. So it could be a juvenile. Oh, so definitely keep a close eye out for this nest. We have a bit of activity over in Coral. Let's go see what has come down to the watering hole at Coral. Oh, looks like we've got a warthog that's come down for his midday wallow. So I feel like this warthog got caught in the act, and all of a sudden decided to keep extremely still, take a nap from his wallowing. Usual story. It's always quite entertaining for the presenters while you're on drive or live at the waterhole. The minute you change over and you're live, as soon as animals hear that live, they disappear or become very inactive. Lions like to do the same too. remember a day on Juma where I spent the whole afternoon with the Inkohuma Pride, and literally the only time they actually moved was when we were not live. Hopefully, we'll get this warthog. Continuing with his daily wallow. So it's a male warthog, this one. You can see those big warts, nice big set of tusks. Got a good question from Kimberly J. is asking, do all herbivores wallow? So generally it's your animals that don't have much fur. So you see warthogs, elephants, buffalo, rhino, generally more prone to wallowing. Zebra and a lot of antelope that are um, kind of form of cooling down or cleaning themselves. They generally like to stay a bit cleaner than like a dirty little warthog. So zebra love dust bathing. So a lot of your furry friends, your furry herbivores, will generally prefer to go and have a nice little dust bath, keep clean. Whereas big old buffalo bull, for example, or a warthog, they're not too worried about how they look and their complexion. Don't have much fur to maintain there. So, yeah, especially those big old buffalo bulls, you must be rather careful of. Buffalo bulls having a nice midday wallow, where they'll definitely uh, possibly not be too impressed. But looks like we've got some oxpeckers there. Could be the red-billed oxpecker. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. Three red-billed oxpeckers. So you can see it's two adults and one juvenile. So the red-billed oxpeckers, juveniles, they do take some time to develop their full adult colors. In the meantime, they'll just be a drab brownish color. But yeah, lovely to see these little oxpeckers. Often get oxpeckers again on these furless giant herbivores. Even zebra, you do get oxpeckers on zebra, impala, warthog, buffalo, rhino. They can be a very good alarm system, especially skinned animals like buffalo and rhino. Always make sure you keep a very sharp ear out for the sound of the oxpeckers. Let me find the call for you. This is a call of the red-billed oxpecker I'm going to play for you here. And very similar, we have the sound of the yellow-billed oxpecker. Yeah, these are some of the warning sounds you must be very attuned to while walking through the African bush so as not to get yourself into any trouble. So good question, Susan. So Susan Lee is asking about warthogs, if warthogs are sociable animals. So yeah, generally big warthog males like this guy generally be on their own, so they're not so social, the males. But the females, you often find the females can be quite social. So normally you'll have two females together with their little ones or sub-adults. But yeah, generally they don't move in big herds or big groups. So yeah, they'll just be the females and their little ones. So often in groups of either two, four, or six, one or two big females and their little babies that have possibly survived the season. A lot of predators for a little baby warthog. Yeah. So we have some arrow-marked babblers cackling away. They sound like a bunch of like a party of ladies that have had too many gin and tonics down at the country club, having a good old laugh. There's also a wood hoopoo that's also vocalizing. We'll just have a listen. I wonder what other birds are around. Let's have a scan, see if we can find any other birds. These are oxpeckers on the right hand side that have come down for a bit of a drink, I think. Is it oxpeckers? Let's see. Nice to see some more water here in this pan at Nkoro. The last time I saw this pan last month, oh goodness gracious me, it was looking a little bit empty, and there was a poor hippo that was trying to reside in the pan, but there was not much water left. So yeah, at the end of the dry season, you do get not just elephants dying, but also hippos that yeah, maybe struggling to make it from one watering hole to the next. Yeah, so yeah, hippos do need to be in water. They can't survive more than a day, 24 hours in the full sunlight. A day or two, their skin completely dries out. Righty. Well, we have some barn swallows that are swooping in here to have a bit of a drink. And while we're speaking of birds, why don't we head over to Tower Lodge and see what other birds we can catch at another location? Awesome. Have a look here. We've got some African spoonbills that are filter feeding. And we also have a great white egret in there trying to disguise himself as a spoonbill, possibly. I don't think he's doing a great job of that. But yeah, quite interesting to see the method that these spoonbills use to feed. So they'll have their beak slightly open while they move their bill from side to side. They've got a lot of very sensitive nerve endings in the end of their bill there that help them to sense any movement. The minute they catch any movement, that's when they clamp their bill closed and catch their prey. So yeah, great white egret, African spoonbill, and there was also a common moorhen that just took off. Just enjoying watching these spoonbills feeding here, aren't they? Busy birds. So we did have quite a bit of excitement yesterday. We had a crocodile that almost killed a wildebeest over at Tower Lodge here. So I think there's some of the crocodiles here. There's three big crocodiles that hang out at this pan, and I think they're starting to get a little bit hungry after a long dry season, possibly with not much food. So one of the crocodiles was apparently seen last week, almost trying to get a catch a zebra. And then yesterday, as we turned over to Tau, we all of a sudden got to watch the excitement of this crocodile latching onto the poor wildebeest's snout. But because, as you can see, this water fortunately at a very unfair advantage and could not manage to bring the wildebeest into the water. So he couldn't, yeah, finish off his kill. So eventually the wildebeest did sneak away, managed to escape the deathly bite of the crocodile and get out of the water. So you display or Sorry, folks, if you've lost my audio for a little bit there. I am still here, still with you. So we did have a question from Sandy Franklin69 is asking about how many watering holes have hides for viewing. So I'm not sure if you're pertaining to some of our specific locations or just in Africa in general, but most lodges or private reserves or even game reserves do have at least one or two hides or platforms, or maybe like little loop roads that you can sit and watch watering holes. Some of my favorite are the underground hides. So I know in Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, there are some game reserves that do have found, and you go into this container, get locked inside. Sorry, folks, I had some little challenges with my audio, but I'm back with you. We were just admiring these spoonballs busy feeding with the grey heron that's standing in a bit of a model pose right now. So, yeah, we also have, whoa, a lot of Egyptian geese. Oh my goodness, gracious, lots of Egyptian geese. Or moving around. These spoonbills have been rather busy, I must say. So, yeah, spoonbills will generally feed on small crustaceans, fish, aquatic mollusks, even small tadpoles, frogs, worms, and leeches. So they do have quite a varied diet. It's generally dependent on size. And yeah, our great white egret was standing in a bit of a model pose earlier, looking rather fabulous. And so this great white egret does bring us quite a lot of humor on some days. Yeah, some days this egret looks a little bit exhausted. We've had a few Mondays where this egret just did not look like it was having the best Monday. It just looked like when you wake up after a long weekend and you just wish it was not Monday. So yeah, he's brought us a lot of entertainment. So these great white egrets will sometimes be a little bit more resident in some areas. Yeah, generally hanging out in areas for long periods of time. Not too much local movement. If they're happy in an environment, then they don't really see much need to move into other areas as long as they have enough food, enough water, and if they have a partner or mate that comes to join them, that's always kind of useful. So I'm hearing some little waxbills calling in the background, and we also have some red-billed spurfowls that we often see at this location that I've also heard. These spoonbills are busy, so you can see them flicking close their beaks rather quickly and snapping back their lunch. So drying, with this drying pan and the water levels going down, I'm sure there's a lot of trapped fish, tadpoles, and little crustaceans, little aquatic life that they're enjoying feasting on. So I think we're gonna try to have a bit of a scan for some birds, see what other birds are bouncing about. What birds are around? We are sitting currently at 14 birds for the day. So trying to see if we can get some more bird life. I'm also taking down the mammals, any mammals we see for the day. So we've got two lists going for the day. I know we have a lot of birding fans out there. So let's have a good old scan, see what birds we can find. Oh, there's our white-faced whistling ducks to the right. And looks like we have another common moorhen. But we must also keep our eyes open for the little black crakes, because this is the perfect environment for the black crakes to hang out. They're quite inconspicuous little birds, so you can be easily missed. You don't know where to look. So white-faced whistling ducks, generally in pairs. Oh, we've got a spurwing goose. It also looks like he's very busy feeding. So yeah, I do hope that Tau Lodge or Madikwe Game Reserve gets a little bit more rain so that our crocodile can make a kill and fill up his belly. But these waterfowl, or the water birds, again, are taking full advantage of all this dropping water levels. So this time of year, when you have a lot of puddles, you get a lot of trapped fish, and you can even see in some areas all the storks. It is a stork's paradise. Get all the storks coming and feeding on the trapped fish in those little puddles. Oh, we also have a little three-banded plover, also feeding on some little insects and grubs that you can find on those lily pads. So they'll also eat little newts if they find a larva of any insects or little flies, any little kind of invertebrates that they might find on the water. I must say they are very cute little plovers, these three-banded plovers. Oh, generally very common in a lot of pans in southern Africa, a lot of dams, pans. They don't need much water, often overlooked because of their size. Sanjeev Roy, thanks for your question, is asking about birds and if they do feel threatened because of the crocodiles. I'll probably go with no. The chance of a crocodile. Oh, there's our crocodile friend in his very exposed location. He's not going to manage to surprise an antelope from that spot there. But this is where we saw the almost kill yesterday. So lots of excitement with the crocodile trying to take down a wildebeest. have a stand, please feel free to help me with our birding list of the day or mammal list if there's anything that I might have overlooked. I'm sure a lot of our viewers have very big screens, very big TVs back at home, so please feel free to send through any birds or mammals that I might have missed. Oh, so the crocodile's enjoying some sunshine and enjoying warming himself up. These crocodiles. So, talking about the kill yesterday, crocodiles do have a very powerful bite force, over 3,000 pounds per square inch or psi. They are aided by the muscles that help to open their mouths. They're relatively weak, so opening for a crocodile to open his mouth, it's a little bit of a struggle for him. Whereas being able to snap that jaw of his closed, he's got very powerful shutting jaw muscles. So that's how they are able to hold on to their prey and pull them underwater. They'll generally use an ambushing method to hunt for their prey. So they'll hang out in the water, very well camouflaged, wait for unsuspecting prey to come along, and they're well submerged under the water, and they use a very explosive power to come out of the water and lock onto their prey. So JJ is asking a question about crocodiles and how come some crocodiles are grayish in color and others are brown to light brown. So yeah, it's all about pigment. So you get a lot of different colors of crocodiles. I've even seen albino crocodiles. And again, it is all about the pigment and the melanin. So the same with humans, it's all about the genes and genetics. Obviously, if you have an albino crocodile, if you breed it with another albino crocodile, the chances of getting offspring that are albino are very high chances. So again, it's all about the pigment and the amount of melanin that is in their genes and in their DNA. So yeah, unfortunately, those light-colored crocodiles or albino crocodiles are very susceptible to having their skin damaged by the sun because of that very light coloration. They do need to spend quite a lot of time in the sun as they are ectothermic, so that's how they heat up their bodies. They have these obviously scutes on the back of a crocodile there, and they absorb a lot of heat. Now let's see what other birds we can find. Crocodile doesn't look like he's moving too much. He seems to be very happy on his little island in the sunshine. So obviously he won't be in hunting mode if he's visible like that because he's lost the element of surprise. And we have our Egyptian goose giving himself a bit of a groom. It's very important for these birds to groom themselves. I actually watched a very interesting documentary yesterday. David Attenborough on Netflix. I think it's The Secrets of Sound. And a pretty cool bird that they were showing is the white-throated dipper, I think its name is, and it's almost like a little wagtail. It hangs out on a riverine environment, and they actually do not have, have obviously very important for them to use their little oil preening gland, just like this Egyptian goose is doing right now, and they kind of take residence along little sections of river and raise their chicks in the back of waterfalls and fountains to protect their chicks from predators. It's incredible to learn about these really interesting, intricate bird species. Oh, what do we have here? This looks like it could be a sandpiper of some sort. Let's have a look. Which sandpiper? I'm going to guess this is probably a wood sandpiper, but if any of our viewers want to take a guess which sandpiper this is, please feel free to send through your comments. Let's see how sharp everyone is on the sandpiper species. What sandpiper is this? I'm going to guess a wood sandpiper, but there's a few species it could be between wood sandpiper and common sandpiper. So I'd love to know what our viewers think. Maybe we can get a poll rolling and see who is up to scratch with their bird knowledge. A lot of these sandpipers, they're very similar. Only way to tell the differences between, again, stripes and spots, or the size, color of the legs, all these very small details that, if you're not sitting with a pair of binoculars, can be quite difficult to identify these small little water birds. Again, I would take water birds over LBJs any day. LBJs can be quite difficult to identify. So we're going to be running a poll, folks. I would love your help to help me identify what sandpiper this is. Or is it a wood sandpiper or a common sandpiper? Again, very small details to look at. Length of the legs, coloration, spots, and of course the bill length. Yeah, they do hang out in, just like the three-banded plover, they're often found in same kind of aquatic environments. Oh, little moorhens come for a visit. See, these are the footprints of what looks like could have been an elephant walking through this pan here. He's a little busy bird, isn't he? It can be very difficult to identify these birds without the binoculars. So if you are trying to identify these birds, always use your binoculars could be good. So we've got a poll running for the next 10 minutes. So if any of our viewers would like to help me with the ID of the sandpiper, please head across to the X or Twitter and go and leave your answer there. So I'm wondering, is this a sandpiper or is this a wood sandpiper or a common sandpiper? Both of them do occur in very similar environments, so yeah, you need to look at the smaller details. There's a medium-sized wader with a white belly. You can see the varied pale spotty underparts and also on its back. When it flies, you do see quite a lot of plain white color. So if you're looking to go and vote, you can also head over to the YouTube chat as well. The poll will be running there for the next couple of minutes, so I'm dying to see what our viewers think about this mysterious sandpiper. A giveaway side is those green-yellow legs as well. So it's got quite long green-yellow legs as opposed to short legs. They do like to hang out in quite like water. They're definitely water dependent. We always find them in wetland water areas with lots of grassy vegetation. And they're mainly found singly, or sometimes you can find them very rarely in small flocks or in mixed flocks with other species. And I'm going to even play the call for you here. So we got a comment coming through from Lee Birkinshaw is asking, is it not a green shank? So if you have a look at your app, the green shank, again, the common sandpiper wood sandpiper, and greenshank can be very similar in their identification. And I have gotten these three birds mixed up from time to time. But the difference between the greenshank and the sandpipers, the greenshank, you're looking for a much longer bill, and generally their bill does curve upwards, kind of at the base of the bill. They're quite a lot bigger than the wood sandpiper. And again, the wood sandpiper has a much shorter, like we mentioned, shorter bill, shorter legs. It's not as much of a big bird. And again, but that bill is very prominent in the greenshank. But it is definitely a very good guess there. And I have made that mistake myself a few times. So thank you for the suggestion there. It is definitely a very good option. You're right. In the right ballpark. A few minutes left of our poll, so go across and leave your vote. So we had another comment from Penelope Kenyon asking what is the difference between the sandpiper and the sanderling. I'm not too familiar on the sanderling, but I do know that we don't have any of these sanderlings occurring in Africa. And from what I can see, they do very small birds, again, black bill, black legs, completely white belly, and more of a kind of russet brown back. But of course, the one main feature that would eliminate this bird from our process of elimination would be the fact that it does not actually occur in Africa. But it is a pretty cute little bird there, I must say, especially the breeding adults. What other birds can we find? Where has our sandpiper gone over to? Has it disappeared? Maybe we can have a scan on the other side of the pan. I know where the Egyptian geese were there. There was a bit of activity, a bit of movement, some bird life. Lots of dragonflies coming in too now with the rainy season. I must say, I've seen a lot of dragonflies coming through. So, a lot of hatchings of dragonflies migrating down to southern Africa again with the rains, following their food source. So, it's been amazing to see all these giant dragonflies coming through. Just having another scan to see if there's any other animals out there while we wait for the last few votes for our poll that we're having. Sandpiper, common sandpiper. Is it a wood sandpiper, common sandpiper? Oh, I think we've got some red-knobbed coots just in the background there on the far left behind the Egyptian geese. Yep, there we go. Red-knobbed coots also swimming. And yeah, I love how they hunt. They often put their heads completely down in the water and you see their little feet up in the air. They've got very interesting foot structure, those red-knobbed coots. So if you want to see, go give a quick Google, the foot structure of a red-knobbed coot. It is very unusual, I must say. So it looks like all we have here is our Egyptian geese, red-knobbed coots, black winged stilts. I think we've got some black winged stilts there as well. It is a common bird that we do see at this pan as well. So because of the kind of dropping water levels, it does attract a lot of these water birds to come. And of course, Egyptian geese are feeding on the grass here, and a lot of other aquatic birds coming to feed on all the mollusks, little fish, tadpoles, frogs that the rainy season does bring with it. Not too much animal activity here today. Again, it's Maybe Madikwe had a bit of rain yesterday. Maybe that's why all the animals are in another location, or just enjoying the new pans and watering holes that are filling up. So what do we have? Oh, we've got our teals. We've got our red-billed teal, or I think the name has changed now to red-billed duck on the right. Got another moorhen. I'm not seeing our crakes. Desperately looking for our black crake. He is not on my list for the day. Again, the little black crakes can be quite elusive, aloof, difficult to spot. Do blend in pretty well. Oh, here's our teals. Got two pairs of teals. Oh, actually, it's teals on the left and shelled ducks. There's two shelled ducks up on the right. I just noticed the one male had, or the female has that white, bright white head. So good to see the shelled ducks have come back. I haven't seen them for a while here at Tower Lodge. My first time seeing these shelled ducks was actually this year in Namibia. I was rather confused. Oh my goodness, it's not often you see a new duck species. So, yeah, quite cool. Have a quick look. See the shell ducks. I think it's the male has a grey head, and the female has quite a prominent and outstanding white coloration on her head. We were learning yesterday about the cormorants and darters that actually are lacking in an oil preen gland. So if you see most of these birds, in fact all bird species, except for a few water dominant bird species, all have what's known as an oil preen gland. So the same as what a waterbuck has on their skin, an oily substance that actually helps to protect and keep a waterproof layer on their fur or on their feathers. And this is the preen gland that these birds will constantly use in order to waterproof and protect their feathers. But some birds that spend a lot of time in the water, like your cormorants and your darters, actually do not have an oil preen gland. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to swim as well. So it's quite interesting to learn all these new fun facts about birds. Awesome. So we have our results from our poll. I had a poll out. We were wondering what sandpiper was at this pan here at our game lodge. And if you voted for a wood sandpiper, you were 100% correct. So 80% of our voters were for wood sandpiper and 20% were for common sandpiper. So well done to all of our voters. It is very difficult. Oh, got a crocodile there. There's a little bit of movement, and all of a sudden a crocodile popped up. So it is quite difficult. The three species, green shank, common sandpiper, and wood sandpiper, if you just to the naked eye, they all look quite similar. So it is not an easy ID there. Definitely have to get your binoculars, bird book, and double check on that one. So well done to all of our voters for voting for wood sandpiper. Whoop. It's like our moorhen only just realized there's a crocodile right there. Again, I don't think this little moorhen has much to worry about with that crocodile. Do often get a lot of birds feeding around crocodiles, although I would be a little bit nervous feeding too close to these crocodiles at the moment because we all know that they're rather hungry. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a crocodile snatched up on like a spur-winged goose for a bit of a meal. I mean, big crocodiles like these, once they get to the size of about 3 to 4 meters, they're going to need quite a substantial meal. If they eat a spur-winged goose, that's only going to be enough to sustain their body for a couple of days. Whereas if they catch an impala or a wildebeest, like yesterday, managed to get quite a bit of meat off of that. That can sustain their bodies for a few weeks to even a month if they manage to um, feed on all of the kill by themselves. But often, what happens is one crocodile will make a kill, and you'll get any other crocodiles in the area will also come and steal their kill away from them, just like in the predator world with lions, hyenas, and leopards. And so our crocodile has disappeared. Crazy to think there's a crocodile just lurking in the water there. So that's why I always am very cautious. So please, when you are in Africa and if you manage to go exploring by yourself somewhere without a guide, hopefully there's not too much dangerous animals nearby. Because if you didn't know and walked right across this swampy, marshy area, you would have no idea there was a crocodile there. Crocodiles are opportunistic hunters, and they'll definitely take a chance and bite onto you if they get a good opportunity. So, a lot of people in Africa do get eaten every year by crocodiles. So, they are very intuitive crocodiles. They are very alert and aware of patterns, habits, and behaviors. So, if they observe and notice that someone has been coming to the same place every day, possibly to do their washing, in Africa, there are a lot of very remote and rural. Oh, there's our crocodile. Villages that might not have access to water that do go and often wash their clothes in the nearest river. And if crocodiles pick up on this behavior, or even someone fishing in a river the same time every day, they'll be very kind of observant to this behavior, and that's when they'll come and grab onto your arm and try their best to pull you into the water. Just completely vanishes, this crocodile. Animal lover, thank you for your question. So, animal lover is asking about, do crocodiles also have to be put down after attacking humans? So, animal lover, generally what happens is it's very similar with crocodiles as it is with lions. So, you will get crocodiles that might start learning how to hunt people. Just like with lions, you might have older individuals that might have once upon a time taken a chance and been opportunistic and might have killed a human here or there, and they realize how easy people are to hunt and kill, and then they actually start learning how to hunt people. And once you get a lion that becomes a man eating lion, or a crocodile that becomes a man eating crocodile, it is quite a big problem because they will then rather hunt people than animals because it's a lot easier for them. So, yes, you will have in some areas, we call them the problem animal control, and that's when your resident national parks will generally come in with a professional guide or training guides, and they will actually try to shoot these crocodiles. But again, it's just so difficult to tell exactly which individual it is that is hunting people. So sometimes they'll actually bait the individual so that they're 100% sure that these are the individuals that have been giving problems. Especially wounded animals. I know in Kruger this last year there was an injured leopard in the Sabi Sand somewhere at one of the campsites that was causing a bit of problem and starting to attack campers. So injured or wounded animals can be very dangerous and aggressive as well. So these animals will then generally have to, unfortunately, be taken out because they can become a problem, especially with lions. Not so much prominent with crocodiles, but with lions, it can be passed from one generation to the next. So if you have a female lion that is a man eater or man hunter, she can then pass this skill onto her offspring, and then you do have a problem with the lions stalking and hunting people. So, yeah, then unfortunately, it is better for these individuals to be eradicated before they convert a whole nation of lions. So there's actually a movie called The Ghosts and the Darkness. I don't know if anyone has watched it, but it's actually a pretty good movie from 1996 about the man-eating lions that were actually feeding on people. So when they were constructing the main big railway line, the workers in East Africa in the 1990s were then starting to be attacked and eaten by lions. So again, it was probably one lion that just took a chance and maybe found a vulnerable person on there by themselves, one of the workers from the railway line, and then next thing they had a huge problem of lots of lions coming and attacking and eating people. So those lions did cause quite a big problem. So if you don't want to be afraid of lions while on safari, then I would not recommend watching this movie. I have watched it while camping, which was maybe not the best place to watch this movie. So, The Man Eating Lions of Tsavo, or The Ghosts in the Darkness, is what the movie is called. All about the man eating lions in Tsavo. Oop, some geese are having a bit of a spat. Searching for more birds. So you see these Egyptian geese, they're feeding on the tips of the grass here. So grass does comprise of most of the Egyptian geese's diet. So mostly grass and reeds near watery environments, although they do also feed on seeds. So I've actually seen Egyptian geese, a little flock of Egyptian geese at an airstrip once, feeding on the grass. It was quite far from the nearest watering hole, like 3-4 kilometers, but they were feeding on the grass seeds. So grass seeds do also help to supplement their diet as well. It's just an interesting fun fact about Egyptian geese. So they are a very ancient kind of very important symbol in Egypt. So the Egyptian geese were considered a sacred ancient animal in Egypt or bird in Egypt. And they did used to feature quite a lot in the Egyptian artwork. So if any of our viewers have ever been to Egypt, I don't know if you can remember on any of the tombs, there was quite a lot of artwork of the Egyptian goose. So they were associated with the gods and apparently represented fertility and abundance. It's a quite interesting little fun fact there about Egyptian geese. But now, I believe the numbers of Egyptian geese in Egypt are actually not as prominent as they used to be, and they've actually become an invasive species in a lot of other places, a lot of other regions. Yeah, they have become slightly invasive. Anyway, folks, why don't we head over to one of our other locations, see what is happening at the Lady Dam? Oh, look at this little elephant trying to drink out of this watering hole here, out of the trough. The water level is quite low, so he's having to really use his trunk to reach over and get some water down there. Let's take this opportunity to just have a bit of a quiet moment and enjoy watching and listening to these elephants. Really cool watching these little baby elephants trying to grab some water here. So gestation period for elephants is generally 22 months, although some recent studies have actually shown that the gestation period can be slightly longer for little male baby elephants as opposed to for females. So the difference is generally attributed to the large size of the males at birth. So generally male elephants are a little bit bigger than females. So for male elephants, they've seen that the gestation period can actually be up to 24 months, 23, 24 months, so it can be 1 to 2 months longer than for a female, and that's because of the large size of the little baby male elephant when he's born. So Sandy Franklin 69, thank you for your question. She's asking about why there are not more predators at the watering holes. So yeah, I think this time of year there is quite an abundance of food in certain areas. Again, a lot of dead elephants. So it's been a predator's paradise or a predator's buffet in a lot of these areas because there's been lots of dead elephants, lots of dead animals all around the place. But y'all, I mean, the predators are still there. They're still roaming around, but we might just not be able to see them as frequently as we normally would see them because there's a lot more water. So that means the animals have been dispersing quite a lot more in order to access food because a lot of these more frequently used watering holes in the dry season would have run out of food. So they're not so popular during the rainy season because there's just not enough food at these popular watering holes. So yeah, the lions will obviously be following the animal movements, and wherever the animals are going for food, that's where the predators will shortly follow after. Catherine, thank you for sending to your comment. Yes, these little baby elephants can't reach the water, so I'm sure this watering hole and trough has been quite busy with elephants today, so they've probably drained all the water. That's why this little baby elephant is struggling to reach the water at the bottom of the trough there. So a little baby elephant, when they're born, can weigh anything between 80 to 100 kilograms or around 200 pounds. It's quite a heavy little baby elephant, so it's also contributing to why elephants have such a long gestation period. Oh, look at this little elephant crossing his legs there. This is a little breeding herd, so yeah, probably about can be anything between 3 to 10 individuals. Although in the dry season, a lot of breeding herds do sometimes meet up together, and you can get hundreds of elephants all together. 'Cause it's a lot more safety in numbers, and of obviously the stresses of the dry season. It is a bigger advantage to be larger in number. So, Linda, thank you for your question. So, yes, gestation period for a lot of animals does generally depend on the size of the animal, or also depending on what type of animal it is. So, generally, your herbivores will have a much longer gestation period than, for example, your predators. So, because predators like lions, leopards, and cheetah, for example, the more they are, the better, and they cannot be pregnant for long periods because it does hinder their ability to hunt. So most of your predators generally have a gestation period of anything between 60 to 100 days. That's between your lion, your leopard, and your cheetah. And again, because they cannot have the disadvantage of having that extra weight while hunting, whereas some of your antelope species will have a gestation period of 2 to 3 months, some even more than that. Like your buffaloes, your bigger thick-skinned animals can even have a gestation period of 6 to 9 months. Giraffe is 15 months. So yeah, quite interesting the difference there between your predator and prey gestation periods. So not always necessarily side effects, also can be species dependent. Let's just have a bit of a listen to these elephants. Not too sure who's squealing there, if it's the baby or the young mother. Maybe this mother didn't want her. Seems like this calf wants to suckle, and the mother cow elephant is having nothing to do with that nonsense. Very frightening sounds that come from these giant elephants, I must say. George, thank you for your question then about alarm calling in elephants. So I thought it was a little baby alarm calling, but it was actually the sub-adult that was at the watering hole here. So yeah, depending from species to species, alarm calls are very important, and they can signify or communicate an alarm for many different creatures. So every species does have a different alarm call for a different species. So your vervet monkey, for example, I think they have about 8 or 9 different alarm calls. So an alarm call for snakes, for leopards, for humans, for bird of prey. So yeah, and they all understand and know kind of what the alarm call is and where to run, where to go. Yeah, especially for animals that have a lot of predators. So elephants also have different rumblings and bellows, different alarm calls. It's so fascinating how so much communication is constantly going on between elephants without us being able to hear. So they have a lot of low bellowed, high frequency communications that they're actually absorbing constantly through the ground. I actually also watched from the same documentary from David Attenborough about Secret of Sound, I think it's called. Um, Even insects can communicate through plants. There's a lot of very high frequency sounds that not just mammals or birds, but insects, even earthworms, they all communicate through a lot of this infrasound that is unaudible to the human ear, but crazy if you think of like a leaf love or little leaf cutter bugs or these little creatures that roam around on the plants that are actually communicating the whole time through plants, through trees, through the ground, through the soil, without us even knowing. So definitely a good documentary with by David Attenborough. Time to share your little watering spot, matey. Catherine, lovely elephant sounds. Yeah, it was very fascinating listening to the interesting sounds of animals that we do hear. So often what we hear is just kind of the tail end of a lot of other communication that we have. These young elephant bulls come and completely hogged this water trough. You can see the other youngster is not too happy. So it is very interesting to watch, to learn about how different creatures all around us are constantly communicating without our knowledge. There's also a pufferfish in New Zealand that apparently they also communicate through a very high bellowed humming sound. So it almost sounds like a train, and a lot of people off the coast of this one area in New Zealand, I'm not too sure where in New Zealand, but they always residents of this area kind of always wondered what the sound was. It's a very strange humming sound at night, which is actually, again, such a loud, low, again, it's very unusual to say loud, low frequency, but such a powerful low frequency communication that it is unaudible to most creatures. But they said it was actually more powerful than the sound that a lion, roar of a lion. So crazy that a pufferfish can make a vocalization louder than that of a lion. And that's what the kind of a lot of the residents of this area in New Zealand were noticing this very strange humming sound at night, and it was actually coming from this pufferfish in the ocean. Alrighty, why don't we head across to Tembe Elephant Park and see what new mammal species waiting for us there. Awesome. So we have a big male giraffe has joined us for an afternoon drink at the watering hole. Oh, I can hear some European bee eaters also vocalizing, probably flying overhead. Let's see if we give him a moment. Let's see if he's gonna bend down and have a drink for us. Seems a bit shy. Maybe you got a bit of stage fright. So forest green, yes, this big giraffe, male giraffe, does have quite a thick neck. Um, Very useful while fighting. So male giraffes, yeah, you can often tell the difference of not just from the ossicones, so the bald, thick ossicones on the top of their heads or horns, but also in that thick neck of theirs. So yeah, with many years of fighting, they do build up quite strong shoulders and necks, which is very useful to protect themselves. And yeah, it's very interesting to see a giraffe skull. You often see a lot of kind of contusions on the skull, so the calluses almost like forms these calluses on the skull. So they get these very big, formidable heads, which are like hammers, or that they use for fighting with other bulls. So have a hardy-dar ibis just roaming around, probing and digging for worms in the background there. So we got a good question coming through here from Spastiankov. Thank you for your question about a giraffe. And yes, I have heard that giraffe do also use infrasound. So they believe that giraffe have quite a wide variety of infrasound vocalizations and communications that they use. So obviously, giraffe are mostly mute. You never hear giraffe communicating, but that does not mean that there is no communication. So just because us humans cannot hear something does not mean that there's no communication taking place. So giraffe do use quite an array of low frequency sounds, again below the audible hearing capacity for humans, and these sounds are not fully understood yet. So we're just admiring this big elephant bull, and I must agree that he does have a very thick, impressive neck there. So we were talking about sound, infrasound, and communications in giraffe. So again, not a lot of the communication methods of giraffe is understood. I mean, there's a lot of studies that have been going into it in the last couple of years. Try to understand how giraffe communicate over such long distances like elephants do. And some evidence has come about in recent studies that does indicate that giraffe do produce quite an array of vocalizations such as humming, grunts, and even low frequency audible sounds at night, which is quite interesting that these giraffe also communicate at night. But of course, there's not enough studies have been done on giraffe communication. But it's amazing that with very advanced technology, we're able to try to understand better how many different communication forms we do have. Thank you for paying us a visit, big boy. He is a very impressive specimen of a male giraffe. So let's see what else has come to visit us at the pan today. Oop, still got our elephant balls. Doesn't I think it's the same three balls, and the one new ball has also joined this party. Doesn't seem like they've moved much since we last left them here. Oh, I can hear Klaas's cuckoo also calling. So we're here just mentioning yesterday how lovely it is hearing all these migratory birds coming back, including the cuckoos. They always bring a smile to my face hearing these cuckoos all coming back for the rainy season. Tembe Elephant Park does have approximately between 250 to 260 elephants, including some of Africa's largest tuskers. This population benefits from the park, which is about 300 square kilometers of protected area, and it is a community driven conservation effort. Tembe is a community owned park, and it's amazing that you can have these parks owned by communities helping to drive conservation and to ensure the preservation of wildlife as well as the upliftment of local communities. It's quite an amazing success story, Tembe Elephant Park. Oh, I just want to go and lie in that nice, soft, green, lush grass and just listen to all the sounds of nature around us. Just relax, completely decompress and unwind. Listen to the elephants flapping their ears. Still got our impala that are hanging out in the shade. Again, perfect place for impala to hang out for the day. Lots of food, lots of water, shade, protection. Although they do have lions here at Tembe Elephant Park, so I would be very wary of those lions that are hanging around. So, in addition to the elephants that occur here in Tembe Elephant Park, it is obviously host to the Big Five, which is pretty cool. I have seen, except for leopard, I've pretty much seen all of the Big Five at Tembe Elephant Park on this location. Yeah, I've seen two female lions here before, so it's pretty cool. They do also have species like cheetah, hyena, and of course some very special antelope like nyala and suni, which that would be pretty cool to see a little Sunni antelope. This elephant bull is using the bathroom. You see, these elephants will just stand here in the heat of the day, just hanging out. I think they're also picking up on some minerals. You can see they're using their trunk to kind of smell and feel around for some salts and minerals. They rest their trunk, flapping their ears in order to cool themselves down. Alrighty, why don't we go check out one of our other locations, see what's happening over in Oldonyo in Kenya. Goodness gracious me, look how green it is over in Kenya. My goodness. We haven't managed to get over to Oldonyo for a while, so definitely looks a lot more different than last time I saw this camera. Got some male impala. Come down to the watering hole. We just had a ring-necked dove or a Cape turtle dove. Wonder if our secretary birds are going to come and show face. This camera is very as a very good location for the secretary birds. There's a pair that I think are nesting somewhere close by here. Often elephants come by and drink out of the small pan. Warthogs coming for a wallow. We also have a little agama that normally hangs out, a little lizard that hangs out in these muddy, rocky areas close to the camera. Have a good old scout. The makwa doves often come by. Wattled starlings, the superb starlings. It's looking lovely, lush, and green, I must say. Oh, we've got a little springbok over there behind the impala. Seem to be looking at something. I wonder if there's any predators around. I've only ever seen jackal at this camera. Impala's definitely checking something out. So Thonyo is obviously located in the Chulu Hills region, and it is home to quite a diverse range of predators. We have a very rich ecosystem. Some of the key predators that you could find in this area is lion, cheetah, leopard, as well as hyena, and as I mentioned earlier, jackal. Nice big male. The springbok there. Or could be the Thompson's gazelle. I think this is actually a Thompson's gazelle. Very long horns. Oh, there we go. Yes, a Thompson's gazelle. Quite cool to see a new antelope species. So it is one of the best known species of gazelles. So it is named after the explorer Joseph Thomson, and it is sometimes referred to as the Tommy gazelle. It is considered as a subspecies of the red-fronted gazelle, which was formerly also considered as the gazelle. Lovely to see new gazelle species. Pretty impressive horns, I must say. I did notice they do look very similar to the springbok, but obviously have much longer horns. Of course, our impala friend is trying to steal all the limelight. Yeah, it's not it's common to see these bulls by themselves, so bachelors on their own. Just yeah, could be trying to get new territory. Nice to see two antelope species together. So impala and springbok are quite closely related, but they do have separate, distinct species. So they both belong to the Bovidae family, which includes antelopes, goats, and cattle, but they have a different subfamily. So they are classified into different genera. So impala are normally in the genera one separate genus, as well as springbok are also in a separate genus, but they are both known as bovidaes. Thank you for your question, Jim, about the impala and springbok, and obviously they do have quite a lot of similarities as well as their diet. This is a very impressive impala species, I must say. Nice wide horn set there. Shame he does seem to have either a lot of flies or a lot of ticks on his belly. And yeah, in a lot of regions this time of year, we do have lots of flies that do start giving all the animals a bit of a hassle. So both of these species, they do have slender bodies, long legs, very well adapted for speed and agility, and this does enable them to evade predators. And also have very similar diets. They do feed on grass, leaves, shrubs, as well as some other vegetation. They are mixed feeders, impala and springbok, and that's why you do often find them in very similar areas. It's so lovely to see so much greenery here in Aldonio. Just having a bit of a scan to see if we can find anything else out there today here in Aldonio. I know this tree is a very popular spot, nice shady tree. Lots of elephant and even eland like to hide under the shade of this tree. Maybe if we have a bit of a scan, we might see what else is waiting for us today over in Aldonio. We do get very breathtaking views here at this location of Mount Kilimanjaro and the wide expanses of savanna. Big open savannas and rolling hills. Very picturesque African safari destination. Yeah, and it also is home to some very big tuskers. We do have one ton, that's one of the famous elephant tuskers left in Africa. If we do from time to time see at this location, so we always keep a good eye out for him. And there is quite an array of nocturnal species that we get here in Aldonio as well, which include aardvark, porcupine, and also serval. So Impala is really enjoying this nice lush green grass. So unfortunately, during this time of year, you do also get a few animals that might struggle with all the greenery. So imagine most of the year, 6 to 8 months of not much water and green grass. And when this green grass flushes, it is very important that these wild animals do not consume too much greenery all at once. Oh, we have a little pied wagtail coming to join. I'm hoping we'll get our starlings that come down because often with the starling party, we get some other birds coming down as well. So we'll keep an eye out for our little lizard friend. We also have a little agama that likes to hang out in these logs and rocks close to the camera here. We were talking about earlier dragonflies and how during the rainy season we start seeing a lot more dragonflies flying around. So keep your eye out for these dragonflies. So dragonflies do exhibit quite remarkable behavior, which is influenced by the rainfall. So particularly in some very dry regions, you get the dragonflies, their life cycles and movements are quite closely related to the availability of rain and rainfall, which often helps to replenish their life cycle. So their behavior will align with the rainy period. So that's when the egg egg laying and breeding does coincide with the rains. So when new bodies of water start to appear in certain areas with little ponds, lakes, and puddles, that's when the dragonfly reproduction starts to boom. So that's why we're seeing a lot of dragonflies emerging at this time of the year. Where are all these dragonflies now? So Peter 04110, yeah, this impala does look a little bit sickly. Yeah, you can see on his spine there, he's not in as full form as he should be. And yeah, he does look like he has a bit of a swollen leg there. Yeah, could be a fatality or injury that he sustained. Could be either natural, so often even in the wildlife environment or in the bush, they can very easily get impaled by sticks or branches, especially from when running away from a predator. Can get injuries, um, and that can cause infections, but also it can be an injury from a predator. So, like we had our wildebeest yesterday that was attacked by the crocodile, he could get an infection in his face from all of the bacteria from the bite of the crocodile. So, often what will happen also is when escaping a predator, they can also get injuries as well. So often zebras, I've seen zebras. That's quite cool if you ever see a zebra that their stripes don't quite match up. You know that they have come out of a almost deathly experience with a lion. So you'll often get on a rump of a zebra, they'll have these, yeah, can get quite nasty injuries from lions. Zebra does have quite a formidable kick, though. So, yeah, they do often manage to shake off the lions, but not before the lions have left a nasty scar. But I mean, animals are very resilient, can survive a lot of dangerous encounters. Anyway, folks, there's not too much happening here at Old Donyo. Why don't we head back to Safari Hook over in Namibia and see what else is around? Oh, looks like we have a family of elephants that have come to join us this afternoon. Big female or elephant cow on the left-hand side, a few sub-adults on the right, and a youngster in the middle, and a little elephant bull on the far left. We have some zebra and a red hartebeest. Nice to see another new mammal species for the day. So, Thompson's gazelle at Donyo and a red hartebeest here in Namibia. We have a bit of a quiet moment just to enjoy listening to these elephants giving themselves a mud bath. We also have some water buck that are in the distance there, so I thought we'd just have a bit of a quiet moment since these elephants are making so much noise. So we did get a question from Kelly, is asking how long do animals usually lactate for, which is quite a good question. You can see this big elephant cow She's obviously still lactating her young one. So I guess it mostly all depends on which species you're talking about. The length of time on most animals' lactation depends on its species, environmental factors, and again, depending on if it is a wild animal or if it is domesticated. But generally, obviously, most cats and dogs, so referring to lions and leopards as well, can be anything between 6 to 8 weeks. Elephants, baby elephants generally lactate between 2 to 3 years, and other animals in the wild, those are lax, lax, making a very loud sound. Oh, something seemed to have frightened these elephants away. Something's really given these elephants a bit of a fright. So I guess it all depends on what type of animal it is. Primates like chimpanzees and gorillas can lactate between 1 to 3 years, and then of course your smaller species like mice, rodents, and rats can lactate for a few weeks. So yeah, it all depends on what species you're talking about. Oh, we have a waterbuck and our abdomen stork. Nice to see some waterbuck coming down for a drink, so possibly a bit of a breeding herd and a few males that are coming down here. So thank you for your question. Cat fan is asking about these elephants. It is lovely to see a nice family of elephants here in Namibia. We did have a female elephant there, or what, the big cow matriarch that looked like she had a collar on. So we'll have a lot of animal species, especially elephants, that do help to contribute to elephant research. So these individuals might have been collared. So yeah, very interesting to see their movements, their patterns, and kind of understand more about their behavior and social structures. So a lot of these individuals, I'm sure if you've been on safari in Africa a few times, I'm sure you've seen a few collared elephants. It's always nice to see these collared individuals so they kind of have a better understanding. Let's see what's going to happen with this abdom stork and this female waterbuck. She seems to be a bit curious. A bit of movement and a bit of sound to the left there. Shame for abdom stork. The waterbuck seemed very curious to check out what is happening with this weird bird. Um, Animal lover, no, there are no crocodiles in this waterhole that I know of. If there were, this would be a very silly waterbuck. So this female waterbuck would definitely be putting herself at risk. I think this waterhole is probably safe and free of crocodiles. In a lot of these pans in Namibia, the nearest water source would be just too far away for any other. If the water dried up in this area, it would, yeah, crocodiles would probably not be able to reach another water source. And it's probably quite a shallow pan, very high in salt, so might not be the perfect environment for crocodiles to also live in. So I think these waterbuck probably know that. If not, they would be, yeah, taking a bit of a chance here. Oh, check out this Abdon stork. Isn't he pretty? Look at those red legs. I love Abdon storks. Very beautiful, very colorful. This stork's been here for a couple of weeks, or must be over a month now, so must be a perfect habitat for him. So Ethel, thank you for your question about crocodiles. If animals can sense if there's a crocodile in the water. So, yeah, if it's a watering hole that's used quite regularly, like Tau Lodge in Madikwe, I'm sure that most of the animals that frequent antelope that frequent that pan will know that there is definitely crocodiles around. So antelope do need to be quite observant, so they will be aware if there's crocodiles in the water, although they do need to come down to drink. So I think the waterbuck wouldn't be as brave and brazen to go into the water like this at Tower Lodge, because they know there's crocodiles there. But these waterbuck have probably been to this pan multiple times and they know that it is a safe place to come down to drink. This female waterbuck is not giving this abdomen stalk much space. She's very curious about this strange black and white long legged bird, isn't she? So yeah, I think these waterbuck know that this is a safe area, not any chance of crocodiles being here. It's interesting to see this one female waterbuck with the three males. There must be some more female waterbucks somewhere. This poor stork's getting really harassed by this waterbuck. These waterbuck are quite excellent swimmers, I must say. It is lovely to see an antelope species spend so much time in the water. So they can often be seen near waters, lakes, and rivers, and you do often see them feeding on vegetation in the water. Oh, there's also a giraffe in the distance there. You can just see his head poking out of the trees. It's hiding and blending in very well there in the background. Maybe he'll come down for a drink. So we mentioned earlier about oil preening glands and how waterbuck also have an oily substance that's secreted from their skin. It's like a mucus, very musky scent, and it helps to protect and waterproof their fur. And that's what gives waterbuck quite a distinctive smell, which can also deter predators and is very useful for males like this to mark their territory. But yeah, that smell of a waterbuck is not a pleasant smell, I must say. And I'm not surprised that it's used as a deterrent. There's our giraffe. So, unlike giraffe, that are mostly either solitary or have quite a sedentary social structure, giraffe don't necessarily always have one family group. Ooh, check our waterbuck coming for a selfie. Hello, beautiful. Ooh, I think he got a bit of a fight with the camera there. Very lovely landscape and scenery. I think we'll have a bit of a quiet moment to just enjoy watching this giraffe, see if he comes down for a drink. Here's our giraffe. Seems a bit skeptical, a bit nervous. Again, I don't think he has to worry about crocodiles, but maybe he's just being cautious that there are no other predators around watching. Giraffe do make themselves quite vulnerable when they bend down to drink, as it is a bit difficult for them to get back up again. So they do have to be very cautious, especially when coming down to the watering hole for a drink, that they're not going to be ambushed by any predators. The pride of lions could attempt to take down a big male giraffe like this, but it would definitely have to be quite a substantially large size pride of lions in order to take down this big male giraffe. We have some zebra coming to join us. Looks like quite a stocky male zebra. I was on a game drive the other day, and we are chatting about if you're with horsey people, you can very easily understand or differentiate between male and female zebra. You can definitely see that stocky, thick neck of theirs. Also very well rounded, and definitely have a bit of a stallion attitude about them. Often with female zebra, if you want to see the difference between male and female, females, especially if they've had a few foals, will have quite an arch, quite a noticeable arch in their back, and generally quite a thick stripe between their legs at the back there. So, come on, boy, you're going to come down for a drink. Maybe if we're lucky, we can get some Namakwa doves coming down to drink as well. Patiently waiting to see if our male giraffe is going to have a drink. Looks like there's also quite an impressive specimen. You can see that nice thick neck there of this male. This could be a solitary stallion on his own. I love how zebra all have their own special, unique stripes and markings, just like a fingerprint. Each individual is different. Come on, big boy. It's quite a unique stance these giraffe have while feeding, spreading their legs apart, lowering their neck to reach the ground. And I love watching them as they come up. It's a perfect photo opportune moment. They use their tongue to kind of slurp up the water into their mouths. Often you see their tongue all curled up as they come up off the ground. Great moment for that action shot photo. Alrighty, folks. Well, it has been a lovely day here live at the Waterhole with you. I look forward to joining you tomorrow, same time, same place. Don't forget to tune in to the Sunset Safari from me and the rest of the Wild Earth team. We just want to say a big thank you for joining us. Happy holidays, and we will be seeing you tomorrow. Have a lovely Wednesday, hump day, and I hope that you are having a great week so far. Thank you for joining us, folks.